Hello and happy Friday, everyone. Welcome to this week's new episode of Breakfast with Boom. I'm your host, Mr. BoomStick XL. And folks, we have an outstanding panel. We have an outstanding list of topics. Folks, it has been really, really busy in the gaming news. Well, for this, I mean, it's been week after week after week. We are now 9 days away from the Xbox showcase, which is expected to levy some major reveals. And one of those reveals, folks, might actually be Fable, based on the tweet from Melissa McGamepass, which of course is a fictional human being. But hey, listen, it's out there. We have people like Geoff Grubbs suggesting that this might have been a boo-boo again by Microsoft. I beg to differ. I think that they specifically put this out there because they are confident. We had a quote from Matt Booty saying that like last year he was confident that they could show on how far they have taken the reboot of Fable. And the team was like, nah, we're going to kind of hold off. So I kind of think a year later, we might actually get a snippet. There's some talk and there's some rumors about potential collection of the Fable, trilogy being remastered or potentially remade and get a big announcement while we wait for the actual reboot. Of course, we want to talk a little bit about Destin Legary. Now, obviously, he works for IGN. And I will say this, IGN does have a couple of highlight or high-profile people that I enjoy supporting through views and interacting with on Twitter. He happens to be one of them. He put out an outstanding article the other day, and it was a little slanderous for some, but it was suggesting that the PlayStation blunder showcase, because that's really all you can say about it. It was a complete blunder by Jim Ryan and company, that this failure of a show, because ultimately that's what it was, especially if you are a diehard fan looking for first party, is it an opportunity for Microsoft to take the reins, show off first party in a big way, and potentially snatch back a lot of that lost market share that they've had the last couple of, the last year or so, especially coming off of a very poor 2022 when it came to first party. And ultimately, this is the big story that we're going to open up with. And we've been saying this for quite some time, Dave. Lina Khan being investigated for abuse of power by Congress. This smells of impeachment. We've heard some, you and I and many people on this panel have accused her of collusion. And even though we didn't have any proof, well, the proof came out during the hearing with the CMA during the CAT tribunal, where the lawyer or the legal representation for the CMA basically said, well, Microsoft wouldn't close over us because ultimately the FTC would file an injunction. And of course, the very sharp and very expensive Queen's attorney for Microsoft stopped them midstream and said, wait, hold on a sec. How are you privy to that information? Did you speak to the FTC? Because we haven't heard that they were going to close. As of right now, they have not filed for the injunction. And that's the gotcha moment for collusion. So again, depending on who you ask, and if you're asking me, I find it very suspicious that happened 2 days ago, and then yesterday it was announced that Lina Khan is being investigated. So, Dave, good morning, brother. Welcome back.
Good morning.
Listen, we nobody is pushing for Lina Khan to go to jail. No one wants to see anyone fired. So we'll stop that right now. But at the same time, if you did in fact, or she did in fact do something illegal, like collude with the CMA to try and do a double block on the Microsoft deal, which ultimately is nothing wrong with, you gotta answer those charges.
You do. She definitely needs to go. It's I mean, it's pretty blatant where her loyalties lie. I mean, she was brought in for a reason. She's basically a hitman. She's there to try and bully a lot of these acquisitions through. You know, the Biden administration was, not to get political, but they're kind of against big tech, big businesses like that, and they want to put them in their place. Is basically what they want to do. But unfortunately, the case they picked to go after Microsoft on is one that they're going to lose because it's not them being big that brings this to bear. In fact, the market that they're trying to go into, they're in third, way down the list compared to other dominant forces in the marketplace. So that's why it's not going to work for them. And she's pretty much said it in her mind, and she said it that they'll do anything she can to get this to go through, to get it stopped. And even that's she doesn't care if it has to take it to the next level. She's going on through. Well, that's fine. She'll go on through until somebody in Congress tells her that she needs to stop what she's doing, or they
Well,
need
she
to
doesn't have
replace her.
limitless power.
Correct.
She has to abide by law
Hmm.
pretty much like everyone else. And if she feels that she's above the law, well, that's inherent. That's the inherent problem.
That's what it looks like. It looks like she's trying uh, to come across that way, that she can do whatever she wants, but everything that she's done so far, she's lost pretty much.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so it doesn't look good for her, for her track record or the way she's going about it. And it's got a lot of senators and House representatives upset that this is the way it's going. So now they are, they're calling for an investigation. They're going to have a hearing. They're going to dig a lot deeper into this, and I definitely believe it's merited. And hopefully, this will either make her cooler jets, or this will clean up the mess that they've put in place at the FTC, because the FTC, it really is about business and growth and looking out for the consumer. That's what they're there for. But this is not looking out for the consumer at all in this particular case, and it's blatant. No, and it is good. This deal is going to be good for the entire industry, including Sony and everybody else that makes video games, because it's going to make them work harder. They've been resting on their laurels too long, and a lot of Sony, fanboys are like, "Oh, this is terrible." No, you guys don't have a
It's
clue.
not terrible for anybody.
Exactly.
It's good for gaming. It's good for competition. Sony has a significant lead in almost every region. I mean, here in the United States, it's a little closer, but they're still the market leader. So there's no denying that. Look, Sony is in the market. We just heard last week, Crispy, that Sony's looking to make some acquisitions, and they increased their spending cap by a couple of $1 billion to, in fact, potentially buy a Square Enix. Right. So I mean, why is it okay for Sony to be the only one investing as the market leader? We're going to get into some of the minutia of what the Financial Post is reporting about Lina Khan. But welcome back, brother. And obviously, thanks again for joining us on Wednesday. You killed it there. I would imagine you're going to kill it here.
Oh man, it was a great show Wednesday, and it just gets spicier and spicier. I mean, I got like habanero jam all the time now, on my toast. I don't know. Um, as we always like to say, where there's smoke, there's fire, and yeah, I mean, it's starting to look that way, and it's something that I didn't really want to believe. I more or less, it just didn't smell funny, and I think we're at the point where it's really starting to rank real bad. So, I mean, we'll get into it, but it's great to be here, and as always, we're gonna give our great opinions.
Yeah, and we're happy to have you here, brother. And of course, Dreadpool. Not only welcome, good morning. What have you had for breakfast? Because folks, had two scrambled eggs with a slice of American cheese on fresh bread, and to give it the crunch that was not turkey bacon, which I normally eat, I had a hash brown on top of it with a 20-ounce cup of coffee. All made it home this morning at 6 o'clock when Mrs. Boom and I got up when she was getting ready for work, and it was quite tasty. So I'm ready to rock and roll. How about you, dude?
Oh, I'm ready to rock and roll. What's going on, everyone? Good morning. Check this out. I cheated for breakfast, by the way. I had D&D donuts and coffee because today's
cheating. Was it tasty?
It was a free donut. Today's a free donut day. You buy a coffee and you get a free donut. So I cheated. There you go. But check this out. This is the bite back controller. You can't really see it here because of the way, I don't know why, but it says Death Dealer. I bought this for my wife.
Oh,
so she was super excited. I wish I would have caught it live when I gave it to her. She was in a private conference, and they're all like, "What's wrong with you?" They couldn't see what she was opening, but yeah, this is really cool, and this actually means a lot more than most people realize. When I first met my wife was right around Halloween.
Oh,
her
that's
first
cool,
costume.
Dude. Nice.
She was a vampire. So she's like, I hope you really like this game for you to buy this control. I said, yeah, but look at the name. And then I told her, I said, well, because of this, because of that, it has more significance than the game. And the game's really not that bad still. It still has issues, but it's still fun to play. We actually beat it with Richry the other night. So it's fun. I'm having a great time. And that's the thing I think most people need to remember. Let's have fun playing games. Not Twitter, but video games. Let's have fun with what we do and enjoy ourselves. So,
ultimately that is the whole point of it, right? It's supposed to have fun with games. And like I said, like I literally had to stop playing. I just found my 50th shrine in Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I haven't even fought a boss yet. I have 50 plus hours into it, and all I'm doing is just finding new stuff and doing some side missions. And I'm in no rush to beat the game, unlike Hargeet Chani, who beat the game already, which is just freaking bonkers, man. That guy's game beating skills are just ridiculous.
I know a lot of people have been up all night last night. So
yeah, well, that big story. We talked about it during the week. Obviously, Diablo 4 officially released last night. Congratulations to Rod and the team. Obviously, it did have a bit of a hiccup. There were a lot of people on both sides of the coin. Originally, it was reported only PlayStation 5 owners were being boxed out with license finding issues, but it turns out that was across the board, both on Xbox, PlayStation, and also PC. But they got it sorted, and people, that are on this panel right now. Fuzzy Belvedere was up to 4:30 in the morning, and he said, "I'm dragging my wagon." Hey, Fuzzy, how you feeling, brother? Welcome.
Oh man. I'm glad to be here. Sorry for a little bit of a little less energy than usual, but man, it's an awesome time to be a gamer. Just Diablo 4, bit into me, and it's got the hooks deep right now. But man, oh man, I just wish this whole ABK deal would come to a close. Was hoping for it before the showcase, but man, that showcase is starting to build that hype right now for me, and looking forward to Forza. Man, this is an awesome time. It's almost like a gamer's Christmas Eve kind of thing in a way.
Well, yeah, it is. I mean, obviously, next Friday is going to be obviously 2 days before the showcase. On this particular show, we are going to be doing our normal Xbox show, which is like the prediction show, if you will. We're going to be joined by Silent Cypher. If you don't know who he is, he's a part of the Xbox International podcast. I'm going to try and wrangle a few other people in here because obviously it's going to be a big show. We're going to be doing our prediction show. Maybe we'll get some inkling as to a leak or two of what may actually be at the show. I did speak with someone pretty high in the list that has said that they are really, like Microsoft or specifically Xbox, are holding the cards incredibly close. They don't want anything spoiled. Now, obviously, the Fable tease is what it is. It's a tease, and they put it out there, right? So obviously, it's not spoiled. But I feel we're going to be shown a lot of really good things. So again, the prediction show for us, or at least for Double Barrel Gaming for the Xbox show, which is next Sunday, not this Sunday, the following Sunday, that Friday, we're going to be doing our predictions panel. But again, yeah, Diablo really, I can't wait to see the numbers when it comes in. How many people bought it? How many people are playing it? How many people have killed, skeletons? They're going to be like 10 million skeletons have been killed. Looking forward to it, but glad that you're here. But folks, listen, as we close in on 400 plus people already here, we got to get into the big topic of the show, or at least one of them. We have several big topics, but I pulled the story, gentlemen, from financialpost.com. It was written now obviously this comes the way of Bloomberg News. It was written by Billy House and Emily Burbaum. And was posted yesterday. And the title, folks: a House committee launches probe into FTC chair Lina Khan. And it goes on to say that the House Oversight Committee is opening an investigation into U.S. Federal Trade Commission chair Lina Khan, ratcheting up the fight between the GOP and Khan as she attempts to reinvigorate the Consumer Protection Agency. But this is where it gets a bit spicy. The investigation is the latest salvo by House Republicans against Khan, whom they have accused of amassing too much power at the FTC. Khan and her allies have insisted she is reawakening the agency's long-dormant authority to curb harmful and exploitative business practices across the U.S. economy. The House Judiciary Committee and the House Energy and Commerce Committee have both announced separate probes into Khan's leadership at the FTC. Now, why that's important? Why do we give a shit? Like, why do we care about politics? Because the ultimate issue is we really don't. But we care about this, folks, because Lina Khan and her ideology and her stubbornness to see facts has clouded her judgment on the ABK deal. Now, obviously, 39 regions or 39 countries around the world all can't be wrong, including one of the bigger ones, the EU, finding a way to get concessions from Microsoft to hold them financially accountable through worldwide fines. And the FTC is taking, we're going to sue or we're going to block. We don't need evidence. And that's the problem. See, that's the problem with Lina Khan. Like I said, depending on who you ask, her ideology is sound. And she's not a dumb woman. She's very, very educated. Understand, this isn't an attack on her being a woman or her personally, but she has put this bullseye on herself because she has been quoted in saying, we don't need evidence. We'll just sue to block. And what she does and what she has done is she gums up the process by sending it back to their judges, only to then get appealed because they're losing by their own judges. And when their own judges don't side with them, they overstep that judge's decision. We've seen it before, to then now have to go to a federal court. So she's throwing up all of these hurdles, and it's not because she thinks that this deal is going to hurt consumers. She's doing it to stall so that July 18th date comes and goes, and she's hoping that the investors in Activision go, yeah, you know what, we're not going to fight this anymore. We're just going to give up. And ultimately, that is illegal. Dave, I want to go to you first on this. Now, when we start talking impeachment is because she did something illegal. And we all believe that she has colluded with the CMA to dual block this deal. And now the CMA finds themselves on an island by themselves. They are being questioned by Parliament. They're being questioned by the Prime Minister. They're being questioned by the Secretary of State. And now they're being questioned by the cat. Ultimately, someone or both parties are going to fall. Who falls on their sword first is the question. I mean, this investigation is not being done to for fun. They think that she did something illegal. What are your thoughts on this, man?
Well, I think that they actually do have proof of her, I guess, manipulation, and the latest, when it was before the judge this a few days ago, just in the hearing, they had made those comments, and he had made the request that he wants to see all communications between the FTC and the board. I mean, all communications. That's text, emails, any communication that you had regarding this subject. They want to know about it now. He wants to look at it. So, and I think that's going to be one of the sticking points that they're either going to drop it, or they're going to try and agree with the judge and be like, now we brought this up, we'll be able to go ahead. It seems like there's something in their ego that they just really want to keep pushing the boundaries. But even the judge is saying that it's not very formidable. And with that, Lina Khan and the FTC, she just doesn't. I think her mandate in her mind is that she needs to stop any big tech at any cost, regardless of their legality of their effort. And I believe that she's just trying to make political points, because I mean that's really what she was brought in for, was to put her mark on big business, and it'd be different if there was a case, but there's not a case. That's the thing. There's nothing there. That's what, and everybody's called it out. That's why it's past 40 different countries, 40 different regulators, bodies have looked at this and said, there's nothing here. And then even the EU, they're like, you know what? We want these exceptions, which was the cloud gaming exceptions and put in place. And Microsoft automatically said, we'll do it, and we're going to retroactively make it in every country that's in it. So it's an automatic to everybody, not just that country. It's to everybody that they're going to accept and let them do the extra thing with the cloud. To let anybody in for like 10 years, no, not charging any fees for that, because
Microsoft it's free.
is going to make their money on the sales of it, and that's just the way it works. But still, to not, it's a big win for Microsoft because they're able to do that. But including all those other smaller companies that are trying to get a foothold in the market, that's a huge leg up for them. Being able to say like, hey, you can get on our service and we now can provide you Call of Duty, all these other great games that are coming out, and franchises that normally that wouldn't see the light of day. And even then, the thing that really is exciting is that Microsoft has immediately started making their games available that they already have currently. So it's not like it's going to well, let's wait till this is all done and this is still going to happen. They've already started making their games available now, which is huge. So their intent is not to block. Their intent is not to stifle the market or take it over. Their intent is to get a foothold on the market and truly make the gaming industry better for everyone. Because if it's better for everyone, then it's going to be great for Microsoft. And they see that. They see the big picture. Gaming is something, because if right now the industry as a whole is a step back, is that it's bigger than the movie industry.
Yep.
And so with that, there's a lot on the line for that, and they want to continue to make it grow and flourish because they're right there at the forefront. And Khan is trying to stop that because it's just not in the interest of her party to let them do that. But like I said, they don't have a case. That's the thing that kills me the most, is they don't have a case. And this recent, findings that Flora was talking about, which when you had him on, it was fantastic the other day, by the way. Absolutely amazing. and then post up with you on there too, and then even Everborn jumping in as well. It was just I love it. He said I have a few minutes, and he ended up staying the whole show.
High intelligence and knowledge of what's going on.
Yeah, and I know there's a lot of people out there like, are we still doing this topic? It's a big topic. It's big because if you're a gamer, this is about the future of gaming in most realities as to how it's going to be and what it's going to cost you to continue to enjoy your hobby. So it is important. It's great. And I don't think, like I said, she definitely needs to be investigated. I definitely think that it's something that they need to stop. They definitely need to get this under control. But I love that Microsoft is now looking at the possibilities of, okay, cool. They want to get this closed as soon as possible, and that they hired a separate team of lawyers to look at, what exactly do we need to do if we need to close around.
Close over the CMA, which I it's funny. I saw Florian talk about that.
Yeah,
I mean, it's worth mentioning that there was a report. MLEX did post that Microsoft, is considering closing over the CMA. But I'm going to be honest with you. There are a couple reasons why that's not going to happen. One, the judge has made it very aware, made it everyone aware that they're not going to drag this through. They're not going to be because we know several experts in this community were like, Cat's going to get it. That's going to take 9 months. We'll see you next year. And they were wrong.
Correct.
Which I knew they were wrong. And obviously, there's a lot of political implications here. I've said that from the beginning. People seem to forget that this is politically motivated for the UK, who is on an island by themselves since separating from the EU. There's no doubt about it that they are in a bit of a pickle if everyone says, well, I'm not going to invest in the UK. Why should I bring my company there? I mean, for instance, King has they're stationed in the UK. If this deal fell through, I can see them actually leaving the UK. Because why would you want to put business there? I wouldn't want to have business there. But any other of final thoughts, Dave, you want to add on this before I bring Crispy in?
No, it's just I do believe that the Lina Khan's days are numbered, and that this deal is going to go through. This deal is already done. It's just a matter of time. And when we say time, I think the time is in months, not like a few months.
I would even dare say it's weeks. In my opinion, I think we are weeks away at this point. But Crispy, let's bring you in on the conversation. Obviously, the announcement that there are multiple, and that's the key. Let's understand this. It's not a investigation. There are multiple investigations into Lina Khan for a multitude of reasons. One, abuse of authority, which we know she's done. Circumventing the court system or abusing the court system to benefit her ideology. That's another. But I think the big one here is the potential. And again, I think it's fair to say that collusion is still on top of it. It's still a part of the conversation because we all think that she colluded with the CMA. And like I said, I don't know who is going to turn on who, but when you see this kind of stuff, someone is going to fold. Now, I think that Cat really does have the CMA on the ropes. I think based on what the judge, remember, folks, or Crispy, that hearing that we saw that was televised was not supposed to be as spicy as it was. It was supposed to be just an evidence-based hearing. Here, this is what we're proposing. Microsoft, this is what we're proposing. But the judge really kind of let it play out. And it played out in a way that wasn't good for the CMA. They looked like a bunch of it basically looked, and I'm going to use a thought that you will appreciate. It's like the Chiefs, meaning Microsoft and Activision, playing against high school football players. That's how the CMA looked. They looked like they weren't even varsity. They were like JV, and they were embarrassed on a public stage. And I could imagine that the 12th is only going to get worse for them. And maybe at some point they see the writing on the wall and like, we're just going to take the concessions and back out of it because they're so-called experts that they used for the block of the deal when Cloud was the numbers for Cloud. Where is that person? They wanted to bring in another person. So just reeling this back in, when you look at Lina Khan, I have a feeling that she might be the only one left standing after this. And if in fact that's the case, and this investigation does warrant that she was colluding with the CMA, she's going to be impeached.
I mean, let's be honest here, and I'm going to take a different route. I expect when my tax dollars are being used the way they have been. I mean, how many losses does she, her team
it's
have?
Like 8 or 9
her?
at this point. It's ridiculous. The loss win ratio. If she was a coach, she would have been fired.
And that's where you there's the simplistic view I want people to have. We are sitting here and acting like, even the wording of that article was like trying to save face for them. You are not remolding any FTC right now. If anything, you are just like in this constant lose of everything. So why would the House committees who, have to approve the funding for them not want to know more of why your ideology is exactly what is causing this losing? You can't just say that a court is going to say, oh, just because you feel self-righteous and this is exactly what it should be, that we are not going to say, no, look, like these companies, this seems fine. And we've seen it time and again. And I constantly feel like, why are you using your resources to go against some of these tech companies? Some of them, okay, fully warranted. I understand that. All right. But it's become few and far between because the tech industry is so big that if you're talking about competition, I mean, we've already got a big four. You know what I'm saying? It's not like it's not, there in front of our face. So, how do you treat each one? I see a little difference between each one. You know what I mean? Like we could say Facebook, yeah, argue against everything they do after, sharing our info without us letting us know. Sure, I'm with you on that. But Microsoft ain't doing nothing of that. Okay. And if anything, like you see things like them asking for regulation into AI, that just came out the other day, them asking to be regulated, people. I mean, what company does that? All right. I'm just saying, like, this is a battle that is just, and it's come to a head because of the things that she's done prior, but now it's like, you're doing it again, Lina. And that's what these, just because the majority is now a different party, that's not even the way I look at it. I look at it and say, there are questions that need to be answered by this entity. And at this point, they're asking for money. And I think it's the right thing to do, because if she can't prove her point, or she can't prove that she wasn't doing anything illegal, then maybe she should resign or possibly be impeached. I don't know. But as of now, there is so much that is collectively, and I'm staying at the point where I just want to see how this pans out, because we all know when you get in front of you've seen it time and again, you get in front of a committee, in front of a judge, and they ask very specific questions, and then you beat around the bush, and we've seen it time and again from multiple different areas, especially in the past few months, and you just don't look good. And when it comes down to it, these are public knowledge now. You have to know what you're talking about. You have to know every possibility. And that's the thing about Microsoft. They got so many people working on this stuff, because at the end of the day, they probably feel that, why are we even at this point? I don't understand. And for them to stand on their hill, it's not shame on them. They have the burden of proof. The FTC has the burden of proof. That requires facts. That requires actual legitimate arguments. And I don't see them right now. So she should be investigated. And I look forward to seeing what actually transpires from it.
Yeah, it's, again, folks, I want this to be crystal clear, because there's going to be some people in the chat, there's going to be maybe some people watch this afterwards, that this is some sort of a witch hunt because we're anti-woman in office, which is the most ridiculous thing I've seen. I read the comments, folks. That's not what this is. This is a right and wrong scenario. Lina Khan is wrong. Microsoft trying to acquire Activision Blizzard King to actually give PlayStation, the market leader, and in some regions who hold over 70% of the market, a run for their money. That's right. That is okay. We've already known, and it's in a clear fact, that Call of Duty, which of course has been the at the forefront of the conversation, which is ridiculous, is going to be on PlayStation for a minimum decade more. Now, look, let's bring in Dreadpool. Dreadpool, you and I were talking in the green room before we went live, and I will get to the super chats. Been quite a few of them. I'll get to them before we get to the next topic. I do want to get your hot take on this. This investigation, or investigations with an S, lead me to believe that even though we're just knucklehead podcasters, people in government are seeing the writing on the wall. And again, sometimes power corrupts, sometimes power blinds. And maybe when you think you are infallible or untouchable, you make the mistake of colluding with another country to try and push a narrative that you believe is right and you in your heart know is wrong. But what are your thoughts about these investigations against Lina Khan and how they're going to potentially affect the ABK deal ultimately?
Well, as they say, absolute power absolutely corrupts. And this is the problem, is I think she's feeling that she's got all this power that cannot be questioned, and this isn't a woman hating thing. This isn't any kind of that stuff. This is an action focused part of it. What are her actions? This is the result of her actions, that whole F around and find out part of it. She's going to find out. And if she is colluding and she is doing this stuff behind the scenes, trying to manipulate the outcome, even though it's not good for the public. I mean, because we the gamers are part of the public here. That's who they're supposed to be protecting. The CMA and the FTC and all these other governments are supposed to be working for us. People forget that they work for us. I understand they don't get directly paid by us, but it comes out of all of our taxes. It goes all over the place. And if they're going to mess around like this and play games, they're going to find out, and this is what's going to happen. They're going to find the truth, and the repercussions should follow the actions that they've put in action, actions and actions. And but they should find out what's going on, right? So when they do this, it's because of what she has done. Okay, it's not because she's a female or from what is it? She was born in England. I don't care.
She's originally from the UK. Yes.
Yeah, so I don't care about that stuff. I care about the actions, and that's what they should be caring about too. So if she's doing some dastardly deeds behind the scenes, it should be called out. It needs to be put up to the forefront and figure out what's going on, because again, they're supposed to fight for us to get us the best opportunity. And I understand a lot of these companies may not be as forthright as we know it. We all know that certain companies are evil. Certain things shouldn't happen. I mean, Crispy brought up the Facebook part of it where they were selling our private info. They need to stop doing that. And that's the problem, is we don't know what Microsoft is doing. Oh wait, yes we do. We see what they're putting out there. We see that they've been busted before, many times before. They did, go after NVIDIA and the ARM because they showed that they would have a huge conglomerate of a business here. There's nobody to compete against NVIDIA and ARM if they joined forces, and they're not grabbing from lower and bringing them in and growing that way. They're sidestepping. And they're like, okay, well, you're just as big as I am. We'll get bigger and go from there. And we'll actually own the industry. This isn't the case. This is not the case like that. This is totally different. And to be, it's hearsay, but it looks like she's colluding and creating different
narrative.
A different narrative to get her point across. You know what I mean? Like, she's going to lose, but hey, we could still win this overall if we can get this thing to go longer, you know. And that's the other thing, is CMA is trying to push it out to lengthen the time. And how many times have I said that they can do same thing happened with my company, right? That company I was working for, you know, go to a holding company and be able to put out the product. So it has nothing to do with the company. It has nothing to do with Activision or Microsoft or Xbox. They just, here you go. Here's another company, brand C, whatever you want to call it. And they can go in there. You know, do they want to do that? No, they want to do it so that way there's less effort on their part. You know, they want to be governed and looked at so that way they are showing that, you know, hey, I'm being upfront. I want you guys to tell us this is, you know, how do you want us to operate? We're going to do it this way. We're going to put out all of our content across the web for everybody to be able to stream it through all these other services. So it's not us holding back. It's here we are. We have 10-year contracts. Who does 10-year contracts anymore? See, so there's a lot of stuff going on, and it seems like they're fighting tooth and nail because they believe that they're the almighty, the all-powerful. There is no such thing. We cannot have one person dictate everything for anybody when they don't even know what this gaming industry is about. We have yet to even define what cloud gaming is. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to all of this stuff, we know what it is, but as a market, nobody knows what it is. It hasn't happened yet. Yet again, Xbox is ahead of the curve when it comes to all this. I don't know, Connect, Alexa. I mean, what
quite
else
a few
do you want?
things, actually.
I mean,
Zoom.
there's so many. Yeah, so many different things. And to dictate this as they're the almighty, nah, I ain't buying it. And they need to go after her for everything that she's done wrong. Now, on the other side, you got to remember her initial beliefs in protecting us was on the right side. It was on the good side, but somewhere I think that having that power and thinking that you can't be stopped, that's where, again, it's your actions have consequences. I mean, we tell this to our kids. Some of us do, right? We tell this to our kids, your actions have consequences. So think before you do.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, and that's the problem, is there's so many different avenues with just this part of the litigation. There's so many different avenues that there is no one correct answer. And that's why they have to define everything and figure out what was going on, if they actually did do any collusion, if there was any if there was any
illegal behavior,
discussions, illegal behavior, anything that shouldn't be there. You know, if you know, nobody can say that you can't talk to somebody unless, hey, look.
Yeah, but the rules are it's got to be documented.
That's
the
thing.
It can't be an off the cuff conversation. Not to mention, if if a case has open litigation, it is illegal to talk about that case.
Correct.
And
that's
unfortunately, that would be considered breaking the law. And if someone in her position, which has a significant amount of power, to get them out, you'd have to have them impeached. And that's ultimately what I think is going to happen. Either she's going to just get moved out by the next administration, or she's going to be impeached, and they're going to have to put someone in there. And again, and I've said this from the beginning, Fuzzy, look, at the end of the day, if there's something illegal about what Microsoft is doing, I'd be the first one to be like, yeah, that's not good. There is nothing illegal about this deal. What are your personal thoughts before we move on to another big topic, and that's to talk about the Xbox showcase and how they could take advantage based on Sony's unbelievably poor showing. If there is something that happened here illegally, she's got to pay for that, man.
Yeah. And I kind of had the feeling where, and not to get political as well, that the Biden administration would want to have her removed before something like this might drag his campaign for 2024 down. I mean,
yep.
Considering whenever there's what appears to be either corruption or backdoor deals, the Republicans are going to be quick to pounce on that and expose that and use that to run against him. And if he's going to leave that particular regulatory official in place, then that'll go to show that he's not doing his due diligence to, fix his own administration. So
That guy can't remember what he had for breakfast, so I don't know if he's really going to put that much faith, much effort into doing what he has to do. But he cannot just allow this to run rampant.
Yeah, and with the way the FTC is approaching it, like you would think at the end of the day they would want to come to the table, make some sort of concessions, or at least have it where it looks like you're negotiating. So that way, if you want to make the big tech companies look like the big bad guy, at least have them expose themselves at the table type of thing, where it's like, well, we want you to follow these rules and do this, that, and the other thing. And if they balk at that, like companies like an Amazon, where what's his name? I forget the billionaire's name, but anyway,
I know
he'd be like, just screw it,
That's
just
Bezos.
we're going to do it our way or the highway kind of thing. So it irks me, one, as a taxpayer and a U.S. citizen, that this is like an ongoing thing, and there's a lot of like wasted spending, and we already have the whole debt ceiling thing that we're trying to get resolved. So it's like you have a department that's asking for more funding with a losing record. And much like you use the example of comparing it to like sports teams and stuff, like our Sixers coach out here in Philly got booted, and people like to blame the coach
Doc
even when
Rivers
the
gone.
players aren't playing
Bye.
well. So it's like you would think if that transitioned to politics or to government workers and things like that, this particular worker would probably be out of the job after about the fifth loss type of thing. But no, we're on, I think, 7 already within the past 2 years. So I don't know. I hope they, with this probe being with everything being investigated, I hope whatever additional info comes to light and they make the proper decision to either remove her from position or request her resignation, and she can go peacefully, or if she wants to be a knucklehead about it because she's on this agenda to fight the big tech companies, which it's amicable for someone to try to take that approach, but it's just, this isn't how you do it. There are better ways to kind of get these big tech companies to bend to your whim, like maybe having it where you focus on like the zero carbon footprint and things along those lines, or customer relations and JD Power and associate scores and things like that. Like make it more consumer centric, as opposed to oh, big tech bad, let's just chop them off at the kneecaps kind of thing, because you're dealing with cutthroat business people. So I don't think the government's, even as much money as they can throw at it or would throw at it, I don't think you can really, beat big tech company, cutthroats in the long run. But that's just my view on it.
Yeah, I agree. Listen, folks, I want to get into the super chats. Then we're going to get into a major topic. And I really want the chat to be involved. First of all, we got 615 people here on a Friday morning. I cannot thank you enough for that. If you are finding the channel for the first time, I ask that you consider subscribing. We're on the hunt for 13K, and we're almost there, folks. And it would be pretty dope to hit that number before the showcase, which we're going to get into, and what to expect. And the Destin Legary article, which I have pulled up, is really well written, as you would expect. Destin does put on some good work, especially on his YouTube channel, which has seen record growth. I mean, he's up over 100,000 subscribers, and there's a reason for it. He does do his due diligence. And again, you know how I feel about IGN. I used to really be a big fan, and then they turned, and I lost a lot of respect for them. But that's not everyone at IGN. Understand that they still have some staffers that are really, really good at what they do. Him being one of them. And he wrote an article which basically saying, or suggesting that PlayStation's drop of the ball, if you will, is Microsoft's golden opportunity to really snatch back not only market share, but obviously show off first party in a big way. Before we get to that, though, I want to read off the super chats. Been quite a few of them, and the first one of the day comes the way of DJ Birdo DOS. He drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, "Breakfast with Boom, dread my brother." Good morning, brother, and thank you for starting your morning with us. Highlander 001 drops on a very generous $5 super chat and says, "Khan was put in her job to make Bernie and the progressives in the Senate and Congress happy Warren even has Warren Buffett he's talking about has a bill to cap acquisitions at $5 billion. Not Warren Buffett. Yeah, it's well, that's the most ridiculous thing. Business doesn't stop at $5 billion. We know that for a fact. So she's talking about Senator Warren, and yeah, look, that's ridiculous. And this is coming from someone that's very privileged. So I don't know what she's doing, but she's wrong. Drawn TJ, generous friend of the program, drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, "Hi guys, Diablo 4 is awesome." I don't know, I haven't played it yet, and I'm not going to play it till Mrs. Boom and I are sitting down together. Because obviously I bought the game for us to play because that we like those types of games. Hopefully we can get into it, and I'm hoping that because we can change a few things that benefit us as gamers, we'll enjoy better than the beta. Dom the Otaku, generous friend of the program, drops a $2 super chat and says he RSVP'd my tickets to see the Xbox showcase in the theater. That's pretty dope, dude. You're going to enjoy yourself, I'm sure. It's going to be packed with a lot of Xbox fans. That's dope. We got a new channel member. Wow, dude. Hitman, thank you for becoming a channel member. We do greatly appreciate that. Raiden Blade drops a very generous £2 super chat and says, "No disrespect. Look how intelligent we Xbox fans are." I mean, listen, we have a vested interest in this. I'm not a big political guy. I don't like politics. Politics is just filthy. But this is something we need to talk about because as a consumer, this benefits me. As an Xbox gamer, that's my platform of choice, it benefits me that Microsoft does get this deal passed for a multitude of reasons. So that's why I have a vested interest. I'm not getting anything from Microsoft. I have stock, as you've seen on my wall, but I'm not going to really get anything from this, and my stock is minimum. I really have a want for this deal because it's going to increase the value of what I pay monthly for Xbox Game Pass. Highlander 001 drops an additional $5 super chat and says, "Boom, think of the administrative court of the FTC like a grand jury. If Khan can win there, then she can go to federal court to have it blocked." I don't think the judge in the administrative aspect of the FTC agrees with them. I actually think that he's been very fair. He's given Microsoft the business, he's given the FTC the business, he's given Sony the business. So I think that the big deal here is Microsoft has actual evidence to prove them wrong, both the CMA and more specifically Lina Khan and the FTC. And Lina Khan and the FTC's lawsuit or ideology to block is exactly what the gamers' lawsuit was, literally word for word. And that injunction was denied and it was ultimately thrown out. So it doesn't look good for Lina Khan. We also have an additional £2 super chat from Raiden Blade. He says, "Total Power corrupt totally. Cat Judge wants docs." And he wants the documents. He wants to see those conversations. And I think the CMA might be in a bit of a pickle. Highlander 01 drops an additional $5 super chat and says this: "She must be impeached by both Congress and the Senate to be removed from office. If they do not do, she stays. It would be like Trump." Yeah. I don't know if she's going to, maybe they ask for her resignation. I don't know if they impeach her. Maybe they threaten her with an impeachment. And they're like, "Yeah, listen, if you leave, you can just leave on your own terms." I don't know. And Raiden Blade drops an additional £2 super chat and says the CMA should fold just to reduce cost of its tax money. Yeah, I mean, it's money being wasted on both sides of the planet, right? The CMA is wasting millions of pounds on a frivolous lawsuit, and the FTC is doing the same thing. But folks, look, I normally don't ask for very much, right? But I am going to ask for something today. My Josie's sister, Josie is my wife, if you didn't know, Mrs. Boomstick, she just published her first book. It's a children's book. I know it has nothing to do with video games. I want to play the commercial for it. I'm going to drop the link in the chat. If you have small kids, I think that you would really dig it. I think even if you're older like me, which of course I'm the oldest guy here, I appreciated the book. It is really well written. It's really well illustrated. The commercial that was done by, of course, the unbelievably talented Sean Labrie. take 1 minute to take a look at it, and we'll get right back into the Xbox conversation. I promise. Here we go. Thank you guys. I just want to say thank you for taking the time to check that out. I super appreciate it. Like I said, I know that this is a video game show, but she's family. She's basically like a sister to me, and the book is amazing. And I'd like to try and help push it. If you have small kids, please check out the book. And like I said, I just dropped the link where you can buy the book. It's written in both English and Spanish. If you are Spanish speaking and you want a Spanish version of it, it is available. But listen, let's move on, gentlemen, into the Destin Legary article. I think it's spicy. I think Destin sees the writing on the wall. And basically, the title of the article, gentlemen, is Opinion. The PlayStation Showcase was great for Xbox. And as you would imagine, a lot of the Sony fans attacked poor Destin for putting this article out there. Crispy, I want to go to you first on this because, you know, in past history, as we've all been a part of this community and the gaming industry for many, many years, the normal way of things playing out for these E3 shows is Microsoft would go on a Sunday, they would do their show, and almost 10 out of 10 times, Crispy, Sony would go on the Monday and pivot and adjust to Microsoft's fails and gains, right? We saw this happen in 2013 with the Xbox, One X. We saw that happen with, with the Xbox One. And this is how you share games. We know for a fact that Sony pulled the camera out. They completely removed DRM from the conversation, and they won. And they basically won the generation on that. We are now encroaching on something potentially special. Sony's show, and it's funny because I pulled the article, and he has MBG, one of his tweets here. MBG goes on to say, a total of 4 PlayStation studios were present at this showcase. 3 out of the 4 had CGI trailers for live service games with 0 gameplay, and the last studio showed gameplay for a game that was announced in September of 2021. That is after 1.5 years of waiting. What the F, Sony? Now, if you don't know who MBG is, he used to be an Xbox dude, like many, many years ago. In fact, when I first started podcasting, I actually reached out to him. He was like, yeah, listen, Boom, I appreciate the work that you do, but I'm a lone wolf. So I do my own thing. And I appreciate that. But at the same time, he changed. He became a Sony guy because Microsoft wasn't, or Xbox wasn't doing it for him. That's fine. He saw great success on his YouTube channel. But Crispy, I think that we are now moving into a realm where I'll say this in advance of what their showcase is going to be. And I'm looking at you, Microsoft. I know you listen to the show. I know people from Xbox listen to the show, and I'm humbled beyond words. But I will tell you this. If you don't take advantage of this, you're going to get a giant L. And it would be an unforced error. It would be a self-inflicted wound. They have an opportunity here, Crispy, to literally destroy Sony where they stand. And I say that with respect to Sony being the market leader, but they fumbled at the goal line. I knew you'd appreciate that. Now Microsoft has picked up the ball. Just run it down. Just run it into the end zone and win this game. When you hear Destin Legary say that PlayStation Showcase was great for Xbox, was he correct in saying so?
I believe so. I believe we are at a cusp. Sony has sat on their laurels for too long. They have pivoted far too quickly for their own liking. The games as a service model, Microsoft's been doing it much longer. They know how to hit certain points. Are they perfect games all the time? No. They also, they have Game Pass to help out with some of that. It makes it easier to just download and pay your $15. So, but also, we've played so many games that have a multiplayer and single player element over our lifetimes. Many of them have come from Xbox. Sony used to have this. You should have had like a SOCOM or something there. Hit that nostalgia, reboot the darn thing. It boggled my mind that they called this a PlayStation showcase. Really, it should have been a partner showcase or a third-party showcase with, some stuff in there. Like, I don't know, at least be like, hey, we're not going to have a lot of first party there. They're not being transparent. And we've called out Xbox for doing this. And usually Sony will be like, hey, like this state of play will have this, this, and this. And then they'll have a couple little things that they didn't announce, but it's not, it's what we expect. And I find it entertaining to me that, for once, like some of these guys like MBG have went into the showcase and they were hyping it up so bad, which we've been there. Let's be honest. We're not sitting here acting like we haven't made those wrongs in our life. But the thing is, and I love it. They have taken the L. Okay. This was not good as a PlayStation showcase. And for once, Microsoft gets to go second.
Yeah. In a very rare scenario.
If Microsoft, Xbox, if you guys are listening, do not squander this opportunity. And as MBG said, there wasn't much gameplay at all in there. If you got 2 games with 10 minutes of gameplay, you have destroyed them in gameplay. Okay. And then not only that, if you show us a trailer and you have gameplay in there, right off rip, that will be big. Also, you should hit some kind of nostalgia. You have to do that. So, I mean, Xbox has an opportunity to do it and say, we have single player games. Because if you look at the list, there's a lot of single player games there. And really kind of dig it to Sony as they've done to them. And I hope and I expect them to really deliver, having people at movie theaters once again, like doing all of this fan fest stuff. This is on their dime. So I am hoping that we get like the crazy eruption when they announce backwards compatibility and stuff like that.
Oh,
like,
dude.
we always remember that. And like people just like, oh, it's no big deal. And now it looks like more and more of a big deal because you get version of the game that's exactly the same, but with better visuals, frame rate, everything else. And it's for the cost of nothing or your subscription. So, Sony needs to learn from this and say, okay, we can't just be like, oh, we're going to charge everybody everything. Like some of these games that they announce, they should have just said, hey, this is going to come to the PS Plus or, like the higher tier or something. They were so untransparent and Sony hasn't been that way for a while now. Usually they're pretty transparent when it comes to their shows. I question, their thought process. And, if Microsoft did this 600-day thing and didn't have a showcase and that was what we got, you darn well know we would be all over them. So I'll give the people that I usually feel like would defend this have not. There's a couple that I'm like, you're kind of saying the stuff that we used to say, but we actually know that games are coming. And the last thing is, I don't want to hear nothing about this ABK deal holding this back. You better bring the studios you got. We have seen these announcements. For the love of God, just give us some new tidbits. We don't even need, you don't need to give us a date. I mean, Sony didn't really do that at all. You know what I mean? So don't give us any dates. You could say, okay, 2024, 25, if you're super confident. But at this point, you know, with the world the way it is, like, we get it, okay? But don't give us promises that you can't keep. And that's what I'm looking towards. And, you know, obviously I'm going to save my predictions for a couple weeks from now. But this is something that we have to call them out now before the show actually airs and say, look, this is the time. The time is now. It is time to get it together and really show people what Microsoft Xbox is capable of.
You know, it's funny. You make mention of it. We had thought last year that a lot of stuff was being held back because of exactly what you said, that you know, they wanted to, you know, again, it's just a suggestion. They wanted to look weak for regulators. What's interesting about what you just said, though, Crispy, is everyone has removed the console SLC, so Sony isn't even a part of the conversation. So they could go buck wild bonkers and show 30 first-party games if they wanted to, with no concern. Their concern on anyone that's looking to block is the cloud SLC, which ultimately will be proven that there is no cloud SLC, but the console SLC has been removed. So they can go crazy.
Just off that point, think about this. Okay, they've already started releasing games on all these cloud services. So imagine, like, putting there, like, this will release on, you know, GeForce and all this. Like, imagine announcing all these new games, and like some of them we might get like at least like a window, or like it looks like it's more ready than we even realize. And you go and say, like, hey, this is going to be on here too. Like, just to dig it into the regulators real quick as well. Because it's like, yeah, like, we are a publisher as well. We make hardware, we make software, we do it all. And, you know, we're supporting these smaller companies by giving them our hard-earned games on there and saying, it's okay, you can use it. You know, you pay once, that's it. Like, most companies don't do. We've seen Sony do that. PlayStation 4 to PlayStation 5. How many times you had to pay more money even though you already had the game? You know, this is not what Microsoft's about. They want people. They want market share. They want eyes on their product. They don't care how much money it costs to do it. And that's good for the consumer. I mean, in realism. Indeed. So, I mean, you look at it, they should. I mean, I expect at least 10 to 12 games that are exclusive, and I'd say half of them might even be single player. And if they do something like that and actually have, like, you know, big budget games that are in there, like at least 10 of them, that is a win in general. You don't even have to say which game it is. And that's something that they have to do. They have to do it. You guys, the time is now. I'm telling you, you know.
I agree. I mean, listen, I don't think you could ask for a better written storybook than what we are currently seeing happen in front of us. Let me catch up on some of the super chats as we close in on 700 people here. Again, folks, please share this out on social media. Let people know that we are doing it live right now. If you are new and you're finding the channel for the first time, of course, I want to ask you consider subscribing. I do this Monday through Friday, 5 different panels, 5 different shows, all great content, and we never sell hate to get your click, to get your like, to get your repost. We just have fun talking about video games. And like I said, I work on the channel literally 7 days a week. You know, we have, you know, over 12,500 people that appreciate the hard work that goes into it. And I'd appreciate you if you would be one of those new subscribers. We have Mike Clark, generous friend of the program, drops very generous $2 super chat and says, congratulations on the book. Yeah, I will definitely push that to my sister-in-law, who worked super hard on that book. And like I said, I posted it once again in the chat. If you are interested and you have kids, you want to check out the book, please by all means just go to the Moon Bear website and check it out. Drawn TJ drops a very generous $10 super chat and says the FTC already missed the date to get an injunction, so now they would need a federal judge to block. Well, no, they can still file for an injunction to block the deal moving forward if Microsoft decided to close over them. What really happens is, would a federal judge actually agree with them to issue the injunction? I don't think that there is a judge that would, because a federal judge that was overseeing the gamers lawsuit case denied an injunction to block the deal. And I don't necessarily think that another federal judge that has already seen a one of their other federal judges deny an injunction, I don't think they would approve it. And then Lina Khan is going to be, like I said, I think ultimately at the end of the day, even though it's taken a long time to get here, everyone is going to get on board because they're ultimately going to lose. We have Highlander 001 drops not one, but two additional $5 super chats. And the first one, he says, I am for the acquisition. I just want to give some context to the whole FTC thing. Microsoft will win in any court as it's just gaming. And indeed, it really is just gaming, which I can't believe it's gotten this political, but it is what it is. And his second $5 super chat says the difference between Sony Showcase and Microsoft Showcase is everything in Microsoft Showcase will be in Game Pass day and date. Prove me wrong. Oh, 1,000%. Everything that's going to be shown at this show is going to be in Game Pass at one point or another. And all of it's going to be day and date. Dan the Man Cunningham. Dan, happy Friday, brother. Thank you so much for being here. He drops a generous $5 super chat, says, greetings, Boom and crew. Most of us wanted to see what Microsoft was starting to show their teeth. They've been playing nice guy for too long. Yeah, I like to see their fangs. Personally, I think we have an opportunity, and I want to go next to Dave on this. Dave, there is an opportunity for Microsoft. And again, you know, this is just me speaking. It's very storybook-esque. And I say that, I know it's simplistic in its nature, but Sony, the market leader, who has not had a show in 600 days prior to that mess of a show that they had, shows up and completely insults their diehard fan base. Now, there's a lot of people that have pushed back on my opinion that the show was good or bad because they thought, well, casuals would look at that show and say, wow, it's not a bad show. But those shows are not for casuals. None of these shows are for the casuals. These shows are for the hardcore to then go and during lunch and during their water cooler moments be like, yo, did you see that Spider-Man? Did you see that new Mario game? Did you see that new Hellblade 2? My God, it's amazing. So as a first-party show, which is what is expected to be and what it was sold by many of the PlayStation podcasts and influencers, this was a disappointment. Microsoft has an absolute golden opportunity that I hope that they don't flaunt. I want them to go and show us a ridiculous amount of games. I want to see gameplay. I want some dates. I think that if you can sew up the year with Starfield, Motorsport, and of course you add Hellblade to that conversation, and maybe we get a surprise drop. Talk about a 2023. That would be pretty dope. What are you expecting?
Well, you look at it this way. They say the whole show should last over 2 hours, and that the Starfield, you're pulling that out of the equation because it's on its own. So that's 30 minutes that they've said of Starfield goodness. So they have almost an hour and a half of nothing but just all kinds of wonderfulness coming our way. They're not only, I believe, will they have like, some game reveals. Even Phil, said some of them on Paris's list. You'll see updates on some of those games. He didn't say which ones and didn't say how many, but he said on some of those games, and the ones that he mentioned were all big games. so we're going to get some good updates on those, and there'll be at least 3 to 10 new games that we may have never heard of before, with CG trailers just starting to to get things going, build their hype for the next couple of years. Those things are going to put into the pipe. They've got lots, from what we understand, lots of Game Pass first party games to talk about, getting us set up, toward the end of the year. And then, of course, hopefully they're going to be announcing the family plan in the US. That's what I'm really hoping. To me, that would be huge, because it would help grow Game Pass astronomically, but it would really benefit a lot of people and really get us where we need to be. The some of the other things talk about, Fable doesn't. Dude, there's going to be something on Fable, even if it's something simple. Just a little, hey, it's in the works. Maybe here's a little bit of snippet of where it's going. I really believe that they're going to show either like in the town, maybe some combat, maybe just maybe some of the humor. Even if it's just a couple of minutes long, just enough to be like, oh, okay, cool, because we see the direction, because it's been 2 years since we've seen the CGI clip, and and then it doesn't help that Phil and everybody are saying, oh, I've seen it and it looks amazing, but they don't let us show anything yet, but it looks amazing. Well, the reason they probably won't let them show it yet is because they're going to hold off for this event, so I believe it's, I don't think we're going to get a date or anything like that, but I believe that we're definitely going to at least, see that new direction, and maybe even the quote unquote the collector's edition of the of the original collection, I should say, of games, either redone, revamped, or made available for PC, the proper way, which would be nice. But there's so much that they can do, and so much they can talk about. I think it's going to be a big show. I really do. And Microsoft, it's like it's in their court and they know it. And Phil is not. I repeat, he is not going to drop the ball again. Now, we may not get everything we want or expect, but then you got to think too. There's a show coming up at the end of the year that they're going to hold something back for. A lot of people are saying, well, maybe we'll get the Kojima thing. Probably not here. Most likely the quote unquote Kojima, if there is any update for that at this point,
that'd be a Keighley drop.
Not.
Yeah,
that would be a Keighley's, and probably at the award show. And not only that, but this coming Thursday, we'll probably get a little something from Microsoft because they're at this Keighley show as well, the Summer Game Fest. So they're at his presentation. So and maybe that's where they talk about the Game Pass, family plan, just to get to follow the snowball and keep things going. I don't know, but they're going to start there with something to wet our whistle. And then when the game show comes on, an hour and a half, they are going to.
That's a long time, dude.
Yeah, and I think they've got plenty to show. There's plenty of studios that haven't shown or talked about anything for a long time, and I really think that there's going to be some really, really amazing content at this show. And people are talking about tamper your expectations. Screw that. Expectations through the roof. If I get disappointed in something, I guarantee you there's going to be something else that's really going to set the world on fire that's there. So I just, will it be the perfect show? I don't know. Hopefully this is their chance to really shine, and they know what needs to be done. Their last, video event that they did, the presentation on that was flawless. The way they did that, if they continue to do that, exactly, the developers direct, if they do that type of pacing, that type of interaction where it's not too much, the big disappointment, even though Jim Ryan's not much to look at, but he was the only one that was there, and he made a few comments, and then a few of the comments were like, what? What are you talking about? There's first party games coming out this year is one. Now, I'm not going to slam on Sony for saying that because, in reverse, last year, Microsoft didn't have a good year, but I don't see that that they're going to squander this opportunity. I really truly believe that Microsoft is going to lay it on the line and put their cards on the table, and they'll still have things that are in the pipes, in the works years from now that we're not going to know about until they're ready for us to know about. They've learned a lot of lessons, and I really think that they're just to take it to the next level. This is their time to shine, and fingers crossed, it's going to happen for all of us because it's going to be good. If you're a gamer, it's a great time to be alive.
Indeed. I think there is a lot to get excited about. I think one of the as we start to see Microsoft's first party like really hit its stride. Now again, they started out super strong. Redfall comes out. Redfall's right after the block from the CMA. It really dragged the Xbox gamers down. It really dragged Phil Spencer down. But when you think about what could be, like we already know as Xbox gamers, right? We know that they have Indiana Jones in development, and Hellblade, and Avowed, and Fable, and the Motorsport, and the list just keeps going on. Tatanka is from Certain Affinity is supposedly the the battle royale that's coming to reinvigorate Halo Infinite. State of Decay 3 is on the way. I mean, it's there's a lot going on. They have I'll put it to this way. One of my personal favorite shows, Dread, was the Xbox 2020 event. We got reveals, and yes, they were all most of them were CG trailers. We got a chance to see Halo Infinite. Didn't show that well. I thought the game looked fine for me, but I get why it wasn't ready for prime time. Fable was confirmed to be in development. State of Decay 3 was confirmed to be in development. Avowed was confirmed to be in development. We are on the cusp now. Again, do I think, Dread, that we're going to get all of these? Probably not. And I think that when you just stay laser focused into 2023, we have the big showcase, 90 plus minutes plus Starfield. You have Gamescom coming up. You have the Tokyo Game Show coming up. You have the Keighleys coming up, but you also have this upcoming Thursday, the start of the game of Keighley's SummerGamesFest. And what's interesting, and we'll get to it because we're going to have a lot of time left, so I kind of want to talk about it. Keighley posted something yesterday that I found to be very, very unusual. And he posted a picture of the Xbox dashboard promoting his event. Now, I'm not saying that's, oh my God, it's I've never seen anything like it. But come on, folks. Keighley's a PlayStation dude, right? We all know that. I mean, I know people push back on me like, oh, I don't really like Keighley. I don't agree with a lot of his takes, and I don't like some of his antics. Someone in his position should not be one brand specific and so blatant about it. He's supposed to be a diplomat, meaning he's supposed to welcome in all platforms. He doesn't usually do that. And listen, he's a fan of Sony. That's cool, man. That's all right. You may not think that his importance to the industry it weighs heavy. I'd push back on you and disagree. I think that Keighley is incredibly important to the industry. Don't always agree with him, but I think he's important. And I think that there's something to be said that we'll talk about in a few minutes after we get Dred's opinion and Fuzzy's opinion about the golden opportunity Xbox has. But he mentioned it. I mean, he's followed by a lot of people. He tweets people to stop what they're doing to listen. The fact that he said, hey, listen, I'm so excited to be on the Xbox dashboard suggests to me that Microsoft might actually have a major reveal on this SummerGamesFest. I'm just saying. But Dred, let's talk about the opportunity Microsoft has to change hearts and minds about the neon green. Are they going to deliver?
Well, let's see. Anybody can make a pizza, right? But
that is true. I make quite good pizza, actually.
And we know that people somehow find a way to screw it up every single time. And that's, and here's the funny part. This is their show that they cannot screw up. I mean, right? I mean, Sony already screwed up their show. So now this is, it's in the hand, right? They can do no wrong, but they have to be very systematic with what they do, And so if they go through and figure out, okay, this is what I want to do, and give us too much information, too lengthy, we don't want to have, hey, this will be around in 12 months, and yet here it is 12 months later, we're still waiting for these games. We don't want to see stuff like that. We want to see stuff that's going to be working. We want to, but at the same time, don't tell us when, say in the future. And now that we know that there's like this Fable theory coming out, which someone asked me, what is the game that I want to play in 2023? I put down Fable, and this was like a month ago, about a month ago. So, and then seeing this trailer, I was like, oh, wait, what is this? Or not trailer, but little video snippet, and everybody's saying, oh, this is going to be something with Fable. So I don't know. It's going to be kind of cool to see. But they got to hit it right. They got to figure out how much is too much. We don't want this extra fodder. We don't want this extra anything. I know it's not coming out in 2023. Okay? I know. It's a wish. Relax.
You're allowed to wish, brother. It's okay to wish.
You know what I mean? It's like people, you guys in the chat are taking things too literal. Calm down. But they need to put out stuff like the family plan is a good thing. What if they put something out like the back compat for ABK? Hey, look, it's not official yet, but this is where we're headed. Let's bring this over this way. Stuff like that they need to do. And Geoff himself, I know a lot of people don't like him. I know he prefers Sony, and I have, that's fine. A lot of his takes may not hit with everybody, and that's fine again. But promoting, I'm looking here on the Twitter. He's got it right there on the Game Pass thing. Tune in. Was it 6/8? Yeah, 6/8 at 12 p.m. PT. So you're looking at Pacific time. That's an advertisement. Sorry, he could have paid for that, and there could be some sort of, I don't know, mutual deal there. So we don't know yet. But you know what? You're going to be looking at the Game Pass little box there and saying, hey, maybe we can look something here, and it has something in association. Maybe there's more stuff coming out with Game Pass, like the family plan. Maybe there's something more there. Obviously, there is something more there, but we don't know just yet. There's, that's the whole thing of hyping up the anticipation for their show, right? If you're an Xbox person and you're looking at your dashboard, you're like, oh, I got to watch the Keigleys now. I got to watch this Summerfest. I got to figure out what's going on, and whatever he's putting out there, it's gonna be obviously multi-plat. It's gonna be Xbox, PlayStation. Everybody's gonna be out there. Nintendo's gonna be there. We know that they're gonna be there, involved somehow. So it's not just third parties; it's everybody. Now, is it going to be sided one way for certain games? Yeah. It all depends on who's got the games that they're going to put on his show. And that's the other thing is, what are you going to hold back for your show, and what are you going to give out to the other show? Who's going to do what? We don't know, and that's the beauty of anticipation. We have to figure out what's going to happen. They have to figure out what is best to show, to give to us, because like I said, too much is too much. You don't want a yawn fest, because it's like, okay, here's another game. Here's another one that I'm not interested in. Oh, yay, we went into it, and this is one of my pet peeves. Show me the game, and then you go into a dev diary. I don't care about that. Show me the game, put the dev diary somewhere else at the end of the show. If you want to stick around, hey, here's your dev diary. That's where they can falter certain things. I mean, do you really want to see them racing in Forza? Right? We're going to have Forza Motorsport where they're going to spray like.
But you know what? To that point, that's why they have the extended showcase,
right,
which is going to show exactly that dread.
But that's what I'm saying. So they have to make sure that they do this right. I just don't want another Forza where they're spraying. The guys are driving and they're flinging. What was that?
You mean like chocolate at them?
Yeah. the
do
chocolate
that.
Jello. You know, what I mean, it's like, come on, man. You don't need that
do that.
that cheesiness. I mean,
Yeah.
that cheesiness is fine at a certain time and era, but you know,
I don't want any. I don't want any cheese on not next Sunday, not this Sunday.
no,
No cheese, please.
no famunda, no, none of that. We want some good stuff. We want the real meat of the games. We want to see some good trailers. We want to see some good announcements. We want to see a lot of this stuff. But again, the show is theirs until they screw it up. So figure out what not to do to not screw up. That's really the only thing. And the other thing is also you guys. You guys are hyping this up that they're going to win this. This is going to be guaranteed to win. No, it's not. Don't overhype this. You're getting it in your head.
Well, they have to do more because I mean,
They
Dredd,
can't lose.
What happened with the Sony? I mean, listen, even Kind of Funny. You know, guys, how I feel about Kind of Funny. They had posted a video prior to the PlayStation event that simply stated Sony just keeps winning, and they had to pull it down. And most of the running conversation, especially in the PlayStation Nation, was like, are you kidding me? All freaking Sony has to do is just show up. Just show up. Jim Ryan, come out there. And it's a win. That's not what happened, Dredd.
No. And that's the problem, is when you overhype and you have all this confidence, you can't have confidence. You got to have some nerves there. You got to have that nervousness. If you don't have the butterflies, when you're doing something like that, then you're not
doing
pushing
it all
the
wrong.
boundaries.
I'll tell you that right now. Yep.
You're not pushing those boundaries that can make it grand. And that's the problem. If you think you got it, my stuff don't stink. Guess what? You stink. And that's plain and simple. You got to put a little bit more BO underneath there and spritz on some extra cologne, because it's you really don't realize you've been out there too long. You've been a little bit ripe.
You don't see the forest from the trees there, brother.
Exactly. You're a little too ripe and you're too close for comfort. And that's where you have to make sure everything is in line. They need to know where the boundaries are and make sure that they deliver properly. As long as they give us a good show, that's fine. I don't care. It doesn't have to be AAA banger, this and that. Just give me a good show. Give me the good stuff. Let me know what's coming in. Let me see some gameplay. Tell me what it is too. Okay.
Yeah.
I want to know. And let's look at it like this. Okay. Show me the best quality that this game is going to look like. Okay. And then tell me this is what it looks like on PC. And then bring in that third slot or like a third of it and say, hey, this is what's going to look like on Xbox Series X. And then bring in the other third, and it's going to be this is what it looks like on an S. Okay, so now PC X S. You know what it all looks like.
I don't even really think they need to do that, because that would actually, to me, be a waste of time. They just need to present something and tell you what it's being seen on, and it should be on the X. It should be on PC. It shouldn't be on the S. It should be like gameplay footage captured on the Series X. That's all they need to do. Yeah,
but I'm saying if they just go boom, 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 and then shift off to the next game, or shift up, back onto a good thing. So that way you can actually see right there. Here's the honest information. There you go. And just give it a second or two. That's it. They don't have to spend all the time on it. Just this is the different versions, just so you know, and then go from there. Yeah. And just show what everything, just show the proper information. Quit misleading us. I mean, we just have a game that was like, oh my God, this is so spectacular. Oh, it's in-game engine cinematics.
Yeah,
basically, it wasn't even gameplay. The game wasn't even finished, and you're showing me cinematics as if it was actual gameplay. I don't want anything misleading with that. They got to show us how they run.
You make a significant amount of great points, and I think you're right on a lot of them. Listen, before we read the super chats, and I got to catch up on them. I mean, there's so many of them. It's unbelievable, and I honestly cannot thank you enough. I do want to get Fuzzy's opinion, and then we're going to get into the Geoff Keighley conundrum, if you will. Look, Fuzzy, TJG in the chat says, I'm hyped, screw tempering expectations. See, I'm right there with them. See, for me, I'm at a 15.
Hey, Boom.
Yes, sir.
I got to tell you, Aaron Greenberg just tweeted out his latest tweets are now hashtagging hold the line.
We will hold the line.
So I'm just
Wow.
saying
Yeah.
he's pretty confident about this show. That's all I'm saying.
I've heard from several people that I trust that have a very inside track to Xbox that Xbox is incredibly confident with their showcase. And I heard that even before Sony's fumbling of the ball, and I heard afterwards that they are so excited to show you what you've been waiting for. That's all I'm going to say. But Fuzzy, the opportunity, an opportunity this big does not come around very often. And I say, and the only thing I can compare this to, Fuzzy, is something like ABK. Now, Microsoft had a bunch of plans, and I know for a fact, a lot of behind the scenes, behind baseball lines, that they had things lined up that they had to postpone or ultimately cancel because the ABK deal literally fell into their lap. Not this past November, the following November, right? We know that it literally fell into their lap. They're like, well, we can't pass up this deal. I think that this showcase levies the same kind of oomph, if you will, because Sony suck an egg right live on the air, man. I mean, they dropped the ball in the worst way possible, and hard to do. Their diehard fan base came out against them. You very rarely see that. Yeah. Microsoft has an opportunity, Fuzzy, to really snatch the market share that they have lost, and especially with last year's production of first party. And on top of that, a lot of the games that we've been waiting for, like the Avows, like Fable, like Motorsport, like State of Decay, all these things that we saw in that 2020 show should be somewhere close to being done, or at least enough to show. How do you think Microsoft really grabs the bull by the horn?
I think they do, but I'm cautiously hype, and I'll explain. Like they have a good amount of momentum. Post Sony showcase, they were like, "Oh, look at this great group of games." The 12 games that are coming to Xbox as well. That's that kind of Sony energy that they used to suffer from last generation. Every time they had some good news, Sony would kind of piss on it with console sales or an upcoming game that's exclusive or something along those lines. So they definitely have momentum on their side, but I've learned from the past, and even from Sony's showcase itself, after a 2-year hiatus, I would have thought they knew better, but it's now a Jim Ryan's PlayStation, so that will probably be something that'll be debated as much as Phil versus Donnie D type of deal. But I'm cautious only because at the times where it seems like they couldn't step on the rake, they somehow find a rake, even if it's in somebody else's backyard type of deal, and they purposely step on it. But I don't think that that's as much of an issue, considering some of the energy that we're getting from some of the execs and some of the stuff that they're teasing in little clips on their social media and stuff. Like I think for them, I'm just expecting a solid showcase. Like I totally expect, because of stuff that's already been discussed from Xbox themselves, I expect Forza to be there. I'm hoping for a release date, and my ultimate wish is like either a demo or, hey, it's available for download today kind of thing. One of those two scenarios I'm hoping they're able to pull off. I kind of expect, Hellblade 2 to be there with like a release date or release window, maybe, late 2023 or early 2024 to some extent, and expect some gameplay on both games. Not a deep dive, because we already know Forza is coming to that Forza Monthly next. I think it's next week. So, well, not next week, but shortly after the showcase. So they'll go into more detail on stuff like that. And I also hope that we get like an update on some of the stuff, like you said, from the games of 2020, like your Perfect Dark, your Fable, which is kind of now more of like it went from pencil to pen kind of thing. So I think we do see at least some sort of inkling of Fable, whether it be a collection. I think it's more of Playground Games, this game, to finally be shown. Matt Booty hinted at it last year, and I think they've come to some arrangement to show something this year. I think we also get some sort of update on Avowed. I would love to get an update on Everwild. We know that they've done the soft reboot. There's like a new director, or one of the people that was like an assistant director is now the lead for it now. And it looks like they've come up with a game loop that hopefully they'll be able to showcase, at this show. If not, Everwild, I kind of still think that that's a 2026 game. I was always under the impression Fable would be a 2025 game. So if we get anything earlier on those, would be amazing. State of Decay 3, I know it's still early in development, but I hope we hear some sort of update, or even if it's a in-engine, type of, vertical slice, that would be nice to see. And then I'd like to see Contraband and even, Indiana Jones, considering the movie and whatnot coming up, even if it's early as far as the development, in-engine vertical slice would be nice. And then the only things that I'll say are like the, Shooting for the Stars, because I kind of want to see them, but I think one of them might tie into the Geoff Keighley deal later on. I want to see Project Midnight from Compulsion Games.
Yeah.
I also want to see Project Cobalt from In Exile. I'm hoping at least one of them, if not both of them, make an appearance at the showcase. But those are like really reaching kind of thing, because I know that those are somewhat still early on.
Now, if people don't know, Project Cobalt from In Exile is a AAA Unreal Engine 5 steampunk first-person shooter.
Yeah.
So if people don't know what I kind of think we might get that, dude. I mean, In Exile has been really busy on social media. I kind of like, even, because first of all, whoever the social media team is for In Exile, my God, chef's kiss. All they do is win, right? That's all they do. I mean, I think we're going to see something from them, dude. Again, even if it's a game like that might be, 3 years out, you don't mind a CG trailer.
Yeah.
Because at least it paints a picture of what to expect.
Yeah. And anytime it's like a first showing, CGI is perfectly fine. Second time, step it up to, in engine. And then like third time, at least see some gameplay, unless they're doing like a lot of updates, back to back to back type of thing. Like, we're in this phase type of thing. But no, I really would like to see either Project Midnight or Project Cobalt, or both if possible. And then the last, Shooting for the Stars is Kojima's game, which I think we're getting Overdose, because that doesn't look like it would be a code name for Death Stranding 2.
No.
And we know he's working on 2 games, one being for Xbox, one being for Sony.
Yeah.
But that one might be, shown at, Summer Games Fest, or maybe even the Game Awards later.
I'm shooting for the. For me personally, if I was a bet kind of dude, folks, I don't gamble. So if I were to gamble on that one, I would say that it makes more sense for that to come at the end of the year for a couple of reasons. Fuzzy.
Yeah.
One, it's a Keighley show, and anytime Keighley can invite Kojima, they're best friends. Of course, he's going to go. But it also does give Kojima time from now to then to do what Kojima has done in the past. We've seen him put out trailers of in-game engine things that were years away. We saw that happen with Metal Gear. We saw that happen with Death Stranding. You remember that whole, sequence of what was almost a CG movie of nothing that was in the game to announce Death Stranding as an exclusive. I can actually see something coming that way of Overdose, because if you remember from a couple of months ago, he said he was in the studio working on something that he wanted to show. And that sounds very Kojima-esque. Yeah.
Yeah. So if we get any of those things I'm looking forward to, I'll be happy. Like I said, I'm not tempting expectations, but I'm cautiously hyped, just because, we've seen Xbox, bump their head against the wall a couple of times.
They do.
But I think this time around, especially with Phil being in the hot seat on Kind of Funny and stuff like that, I honestly I would hate to be on the Monday meeting after the showcase if this was to disappoint. But yeah, I think he's got the troops at Team Xbox rallied up, and they're gonna wow us, or at least catch our attention enough to look forward to these games coming here soon. So fingers crossed we see that June 11th.
Listen, I agree. First of all, let me catch up on the super chats. Again, there's been so many of them. Thank you so much for the incredible generosity. Let's see where I can catch up over here. See, 20J was that one. Okay, so we have one from Buck, who drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "Boom, the FTC has not dropped a console SLC. However, ZeniMax Online and Indiana Jones multi-platform could be shown to prove Phil's case by look, I'm going to say this from a very petty and selfish ideology. I hope that if we get a chance to see Indiana Jones, that it's a straight up exclusive. I don't think Sony's owed anything, folks. I'm going to come right out and say it. They're not owed shit. If there was a deal with Lucas to before the ZeniMax was purchased, Microsoft can go in there, because it wasn't officially announced for anything, right? Just say, hey, we're working on Indiana Jones. They can go into Lucas and say, hey, listen, here's a bag of money. We want to make this exclusive. They're not going to care. They're not going to care. And like I said, Sony isn't owed anything. So I hope that selfishly, I hope that it is exclusive. Sorry. Fantas Archer drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, based on Sony's recent actions, a rushed showcase, PC gaming push, gas, and efforts to raise spending money, are they in more trouble than they know? I mean, look, I'm going to say this. If you are a diehard Sony fan, I think what that show really did show you, because again, one of the big takeaways or the big disappointments from a lot of people, including myself, is that after 600 plus days away from having proper showcases, not state of plays, actual showcases that not only show you what was coming soon, but gave you a kind of picture into the future, Sony didn't do that. Now, we've had people like Tom Henderson that says, oh, no, I'm hearing that Sony held back. I don't know about that, man. Sony doesn't hold back. They're very bullish like that. But Highlander 001 drops a very generous additional $5 super chat. I think I'm older than you, Boom. My social security number is in the single digits and with Roman numerals. Great podcast as always, and another great panel, brother. That is great. Listen, just take your vitamins and do Pilates. It certainly helped me. I'm doing Pilates. In fact, as soon as I'm done with this show, I'm gonna bang out my hour worth of Pilates, because the old man body, it's not gonna get fixed on its own. We have RC Polygons. First of all, I've never seen that, RC. Never seen your name here. Sorry if I've missed you. Welcome. Thank you so much for taking the time to check out Double Barrel Gaming. And of course, thank you so much for the generosity. He goes, I'm sad that Diablo isn't coming day and date into Xbox Game Pass, but soon it will. Yeah, a lot of us thought that they would have this deal wrapped up, and that would be like the big, the Xbox Wire announcement. Guess what? Xbox Game Pass, users, but it'll get there eventually. We have the Herod Thurman, drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, I'm a prophet and the self-proclaimed leader of the Junza motorsport cult. I don't know what that is, but listen, Fuzzy would probably know exactly what that is. I don't know what that is. But thank you for the generosity, brother. And of course, motorsport's going to kill. Not my favorite in the series. I am more of a Horizon guy, but I will play the H out of motorsport when it releases. Jerron TJ drops an additional $2 of Jen says Phil Spencer bought Geoff Keighley. I don't think anybody could buy Geoff Keighley, but I think that there might be something. We're going to talk about that in a second. What I think is going to be there, and versus what is actually going to be there, because I don't think he would make that Xbox tweet if there wasn't something that they were going to show. X Don the Otaku drops an additional very generous $5 super chat and says Xbox has an easy layup to beat PlayStation Showcase, but they're down by 3. They need to hit a 3 and catch up after all of the bad PR. Can't just be good. Yeah, it's got to be great. It's got to be a great show. And I think Phil knows that. Dreadful Sean drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, I would like to see a Fallout TV series trailer and that transforms into a trailer for the next gen patch for Fallout. I will tell you this, Dreadful, that is not going to happen because of the horrendous feedback that me and everyone else that saw a Gran Turismo trailer of a movie that's probably going to be terrible at a showcase. If it was in there, and because the Fallout show is looking really good from Amazon, it's not in there now. There's no way. They saw the fan reaction. Nobody wants to see movies or TV series at a game show. Nobody wants to see that. I don't want to see it either. We have Mohammed Sherez drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, Boom, thoughts on CD Projekt Red recently announcing a tour around the world to show off the Phantom Liberty expansion, 7 countries, I think. I think that's dope. But you know what's even doper? The fact that Microsoft still has the marketing. And that's going to be big because obviously Cyberpunk made a complete 180. It's an amazing game. And Microsoft has the marketing for that DLC. I think that's a big deal. No Exus BLD drops a very generous $2 super chat. Welcome to the channel, brother. Thank you for the generosity. He says, man, Boom, a new Doom game from ID would be awesome. I think we're either gonna get on something with Doom or we're gonna get Wolfenstein. I think we're going to get one of the other because it's been a long time coming for both of those IPs. We have Simon Brady. Brother, welcome to the channel, and thank you for the generosity. He says Xbox needs a superhero game. Dude, I've been saying that for freaking years. And, of course, Captain America set during World War II would be perfect. GTA 6 intro game into Game Pass would drop the mic, hold the line.
Hold the line.
Yeah, I would just honestly be happy with you close out. I know a lot of people like, hey, Boom, I don't like closing out on a third party like they did with Cyberpunk or they did with Anthem. I'll say this. If they saved up all their pennies, because remember, I've been very, very hard on Microsoft about not doing these zeitgeist marketing deals. No Street Fighter, no Star Wars, not Harry Potter, and no DC. Everything is Sony. At some point, they have to show up. Could you imagine, folks, if the one last thing before the show ends and we move on to the Starfield showcase, the head of 2K comes out and says, hey, I just want to, I know there's a lot of people asking about GTA 6. We don't have a release date for you today, but we do have the trailer. We've partnered with Microsoft. And boom, they put it up on the screen. They show you the trailer for GTA 6, and the world cracks open, or hell freezes over. Because that's, if you're going to get one, if you're going to get just one, it's GTA 6. And I think Microsoft has the money to do it.
Boom?
Yes, sir.
What about this? Remember how I said Microsoft and Xbox pushed away from the table, but they didn't get up?
Yeah.
With WB Games. Remember that little snippet of Activision looking at buying WB?
Yeah. I mean,
there's still a possibility that the reason why they're not trying to lock it down is because they're going to lock down the whole thing. So
I mean,
what if that possibility is still there?
Yeah, it absolutely could be a possibility. I mean, we just learned that they had set up all the funds to purchase WB, meaning Activision, and it wasn't just for partial; it was for the entirety, meaning all the DCEU licenses, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Justice League, Flash, you name it. It was all being a part of this deal. I am going to say this right now: if you wanted to buy WB, like today, $27 billion, which is half of less than half of ABK. So maybe that's something that they finish ABK and they announce potentially for 2024. That would be huge. But listen, we have 5 minutes, guys. I don't really want to make this a monster topic because everyone's got things to do. I do want to just poll everyone real quick. Obviously, the tweet from Keighley highlighting that his show is on the Xbox dashboard. I confirmed it. It is. Summer Games Fest, whether you like it or you don't, it's going to have a lot of reveals. We're expecting Sony to have something there. Nintendo is definitely going to have something there. But it kind of feels, Crispy, like Microsoft is going to have at least something to kick off the E3 week. And then obviously if it's big, if it's really big, it's going to set a tone. It's going to set a precedent to their show that happens the following Sunday. What one game could do that for you?
Ooh, what one game?
What's the one game that you think Microsoft would pull from their show to put onto Keighley's, which we know is going to have millions of eyes? Is it Hellblade?
I mean, that's where I'm thinking because
they showed all the Hellblade stuff on his stuff on his shows.
Yeah, and that was the first one I was thinking because you want the eyes of like multiple different gamers type thing on that. I mean, obviously there's going to be many people watching the Xbox showcase, but for the casual people, like you might as well have some hype going right into the show.
Let me paint the picture for you, Crispy. Just imagine this. They show off Hellblade, they show off gameplay, and they give a fall 2023 release date. The internet breaks, and they take that momentum and lead right into the Starfield and Xbox showcase. Wow.
I mean, if you really think about it, if that happens, okay, if you really think about that, and with the Fable tease and all this stuff, I say we should actually go in and not know what we're actually going to see if they show Hellblade at the Summer Games Fest, which is absolutely possible. That is literally the most we've seen from Hellblade is at anything that Keighley does. And also, I was like, when I saw that tweet, I was like, "Oh wait, you actually play Xbox?" I'm just that was a little dig, but I mean, seriously, like, I feel like it would be Hellblade or it would be something new. I think I'm with whoever said it, maybe Compulsion or something like that. I mean, hypothetically, if you don't want to give them Hellblade, you could say, okay, well, here's a in-game trailer / gameplay of State of Decay 3, because State of Decay, like, hate it or love it, if it looks as good as what we saw, it's going to be something to marvel at. Because, like, even
the Coalition's working on it, and they're using Unreal Engine 5. That's been confirmed, dude. So
why? I feel like every time somebody says the Coalition's helping in it, I'm like, oh, are you guys going to make a game? Like, are you going to give us what we really want? I'm really, that's where we'll get into the predictions show. But, like the Coalition, I mean, I said it a long time ago. They are like almost a support studio for UE5 at this point. I mean, they've had, I said this a long, long time, like almost 2 years ago when Hivebusters came out, that they have tool sets from UE5 already. And people were like, oh, you're crazy. Well, it's looking like that case. I'm just saying. So I don't know. Like, it could be, it could be like, let's put eyes on Xbox and let's give them something brand new. I don't know. I don't know how Geoff, has his conversations with Xbox and with everything that has happened in the past, year and a half with acquisition. Is their mind on what Geoff needs to, ramp up his Summer Game Fest? It's one of those things, but the tweet is like, okay, so you're like, hey, we're here.
To me, it's
and
implying something. I don't know. Maybe I'm looking.
Well,
I'm
and I
looking outside the
believe
box.
I believe it was on the dashboard last year, but he didn't tweet it out. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I believe it was on the day because I remember seeing like the Summer Games Fest logo on my Xbox dashboard. So like maybe there's something there. I mean, if I were a betting man, it would be Hellblade, but that's just me.
No, I mean a good strong pick, Dave. Let's get your one pick. What could, if anything, show up at Keighley's showcase? And I think I mean, like, I'm seeing some stuff in the chat. People are like, why would you not show it at your own showcase? And that's a great point. But Dave,
Yep.
if you want momentum going into your own show, you show something big, you show gameplay, you potentially give a release date, you set an unbelievable precedent coming off of a very poor Sony show. I mean, I don't know. I kind of like what we're talking about here.
Well, it could be, I'm of two minds. One is like something that we know is definitely coming very soon, and some even speculation that it could be a shadow drop, which would be the new Forza. That would be great for them to show that and the date and when it's coming out there, because that would have mind's eye on a lot of different people. Or, all brand new, high res, 120 frames per second Killer Instinct game. That'd be great.
Yep.
I would love that. They need to make a new Killer Instinct and announcing it there. That'd be great. But there's so many things it could be. It's just like, wow, who knows? It's crazy. Love it.
Yeah, me too. I think there is a possibility. Let's get Dreadpool's hot take on this real quick. What's the one game you think Microsoft could show there?
Fable. No,
There you
I'm
go.
kidding. So, well, obviously I'm going to say Fable, but let's be realistic about it. I think I like the Phantom Drop one, and what I'm going to go with because of that, I think I'm going to go with Killer Instinct. I think that'll be a nice one to drop. Again, wishful thinking, but I think that would be something cool to see because we've been talking about it. It'd be nice to see, that they're actually working on it, something like that. I know they've been talking about bringing it back. There's been many talks that somebody is starting to work on it, but haven't really officially worked on it or done anything. I don't know if they're doing test frames or any, what I mean? If they're doing any testing with it to see if they want to do it, but I think that would be a nice one to see. That would be out from left field.
Yeah, no, I agree. It would definitely be a surprise. There's no doubt about it. And again, I think that if there's going to be something there, if what Keighley put out there in a simple tweet is suggesting that there might be something there, it needs to be a big deal to set precedents. Before I read out these super chats and we get everyone out of here, Fuzz, let's get your hot take on it. What can this one game bring to really give Microsoft or Xbox momentum going into their own show the following Sunday?
The two that come to mind for me, one being the Kojima game Overdose, but thinking about it as far as something that wasn't expected to be at the showcase, possibly, but would bring more eyes to the IP and kind of bring more attention front and center for it just before the showcase, would be Certain Infinity's Project Tatanka, basically the Halo BR, because you want as many eyes on that. And for those outside the Xbox community, it might be a nice opportunity to show them a BR that they could download for free and play, whether it be cloud, browser, PC, or on their Xbox console. I think that would be probably the way to go.
I mean, it's a strong pick. It's definitely a strong pick because, like I said, it's free to play. And right now, the free to play market is still relatively large. And that is currently taken over by Fortnite, by Call of Duty, Warzone, and of course Apex Legends. You can't forget them, and I'm sure there's a few in there. That's a strong pick. I do like that pick. Get the Halo thing out of the way. show off nice gameplay, show off certain Affinity's style for what this is BR is going to be. I like it. But listen, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for your show for Breakfast with Boom on this particular Friday. Let me just read the last couple of super chats, and I got to say in advance, wow, man, there's been 30 of them today, and that's just madness. Honestly, I cannot thank you enough. Mrs. Boom and I are incredibly grateful for the generosity you folks continue to show us and the channel. We have one from Mohammed Shares, who says, will Microsoft want GTA 6 to overshadow Starfield? I don't think it would. I think they would just it would be a snowball turning into this behemoth of a thing. You know, you go from your showcase, you close with GTA, and you're moving to Starfield. I think the hype train that would be rolling would be monstrous. James Thomas, James, welcome to the show, brother. He drops very generous $5 super chat, says, if Xbox has marketing of Cyberpunk, could we get a Game Pass announcement? And Spawn or Batman, in my opinion, best to rival surpass Spider-Man. The Spawn talk has been around, and Todd McFarlane, obviously, we know that there's a new film coming out. I'd love to see a new Spawn game exclusive to Xbox. And if you remember back in the days when Soul Calibur released, the exclusive character for the three, one was Link for Nintendo's version, one was the boss from Tekken, and for Xbox it was Spawn, which was freaking dope. That's actually a great point. Raiden Blade drops an additional £2 super chat and says, one more thing. Hi Xbox, hi Ross, hi Hulk Smash. Dude, that would be you know what I tell you, there hasn't been a really good Hulk game since Ultimate Destruction on the OG Xbox. And I would take a remake of that. Honestly, just give me a remake of Ultimate Destruction. That was freaking awesome. And the last super chat of the day comes the way of Drawn TJ, who's drops an additional very generous $10 super chat and says, I say give ABK $10 billion extra towards buying all of WB after the ABK deal. Microsoft can't get in trouble and put all the games into Game Pass, but also multi-platform. Once they're owned, even though they're going to be run separately, because someone's going to run Activision separately, the way Bethesda and ZeniMax is being run separately, it's still be under the Microsoft umbrella. And Microsoft isn't going to get any kind of trouble. If they decide to potentially in 2024 announce in January that they're looking to acquire WB, it would not be considered a horizontal merger. It would be considered a vertical merger the same way this is, because they don't have a footprint or a thumbprint in movie making. They don't have a thumbprint in comics, right? So it might behoove Microsoft to go out and try and get DC, because James Gunn just signed a dotted line. He's there, the MCU version of Kevin Feige, and that guy says he wants his movies to be incorporated into games. I mean, if there's one mind you want being a part of the conversation for games to movies, it's James Gunn. But listen, folks, let's get to the outros. We'll start first, and we'll bring up Dreadpool because he has his stuff ready to rock and roll. Dread, you can be found on linktree.com/Dreadpool, youtube.com/Dreadpool, Twitter @Dreadpool, TikTok @Dreadpool, as well as hover.gg Dreadpool. And you're also, of course, not only on Breakfast with Boom on Friday mornings, but you are a part of Wilmy Hood's crew, and they have a podcast on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. called Gaming Beyond the Box. Please, brother, sell Breaking Bread with Dread, and where can people subscribe to that YouTube channel?
Yes. What happened there? There we are. Yes. Really appreciate everybody stopping in. Thank you all for hanging out with us, and just check us out everywhere. You know where to find me, but love hanging out with each and every one of you every Friday morning. And I'm still working on Breaking Bread with Dread. They are taking up a lot more time because of the audio issues, but hopefully putting some more stuff out there. And obviously I'll be out and about during certain events, conventions. Did you realize that Saturday when I was at Spooky Empire that John Bon Jovi was there.
Oh no, I did not know that. That's
Yeah,
cool.
I found that out. Yeah, so hopefully he's in one of my videos. So definitely check it out once I post them. Actually, the 360 ones are out, so you should be able to see the live stream and the 360 stuff. So definitely appreciate every single one of you checking us out and just having a good time. So welcome to the pool party, right?
Yeah, absolutely, brother. And thank you so much for being here as always. Actually, when you can be here, because our work has been tough for you last couple of months, but we appreciate you being here. Crispy Bomb, newly rejoined member of course, Breakfast with Boom. Where can people find you on potentially some other podcasts, but more importantly, where can people find you on social media to hear the crispy truth?
Yes, so always a pleasure, gentlemen. Shout out to the chat. You came in droves, and I didn't see anybody saying some crazy stuff, so we appreciate
the chat was great
that.
today. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. So at Chris Baum on Twitter, Chris Baum 28 Xbox Live, and you can find me back here Friday morning next week on Breakfast with Boom, and that is all.
Nice, brother. And a quick update before we get Dave's outro. Next Friday is going to be the Xbox prediction show. 2 of our special guests have just been confirmed live on the air. Silent Cypher of course, the Xbox International Podcast. And Doom Cutie is making her debut appearance on Breakfast with Boom. Dave, you know her well because you interviewed her a couple of months ago. Sell your channel, brother, please, by all means. How do we now get you to 2K? Where could people check out some of the best one-on-one interviews in the business? And more importantly, your Sunday evening show that has a panel lineup that is second to none with none other than Retri from Game _Daily or Game Pass _Daily. Talk about it, brother.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. And man, Doom Cutie is awesome. She is absolutely amazing. She is knowledgeable. She's an expert gamer, and she's so much fun. You're gonna love her. And not only did I get to interview her, but a couple of weeks ago, she was also on the Gamers Council as well too. Same show we had with Post Up. So that was a great episode having them both on there. I tell you, I put it in the chat. I'd love for people to subscribe. That'd be great if you get a chance to come join us this Sunday. Let's see what it is, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sundays. And this Sunday show we've got it's our prediction show, and it's going to be the Mag, it's going to be Mav from Fun Speculation, and it's going to be Risk It for the Biscuit as our guest.
Wow, that's a lineup, dude. Holy matrimony. Excellent.
And I just got to give you a heads up that the next week, oh my gosh, folks, so the next week for the day of the showcase. So it'll be like 4 or 5 hours later after everybody's had a nice digestion of the showcase and soaked it all in. Our guest for the show is going to be Dirt Gritty, and also Tim Dog.
So yeah,
it is going to be
two great guys, two
fantastic show. Excellent. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, thanks for everybody for watching today, man. Great chat, great conversations, and yes, Dirt is the man. So guys, man, and please, Boom works so hard for everybody and helping everybody else out, and he's one of a kind. And I gotta tell you, and I know the chat's here because they're here because they love you and they trust you. And what you put out, the content you put out is second to none. It's absolutely amazing. Please subscribe. Not only that, but membership is relatively inexpensive. It's like $5, and man, you get so much with that. It's so much fun. Way to interact. So please, Boom does so much for us, but sometimes you gotta come back to Dad and say, "Come on, man, help him out," because
I appreciate that. I learned something very this week from good friend who's recovering. Shout out to Lord Cognito. He says, closed mouths, Boom, don't get fed. So that's something behind the scenes, but so shout out to Cog, and of course a big thank you to everyone that continues to support the channel. And Dave, thank you for the extremely kind words. Fuzzy Belvedere, brother, let's get you on out of here. Talk about it. Where could people check out the best place for anything and everything in the racing genre? Where could people find you on social media, and what else you got going on?
Oh, well, thank you for having me on. Thank you for everybody that joined us today. And man, just be prepared for some gaming nonstop for the remainder of this year. As far as we can't seem to catch up on backlogs as it is. So enjoy the games that are out there. For those that want to hear or see some game clips or hear my rambles and rants on anything gaming related, just follow me on Twitter or on YouTube, Fuzzy_Belvedere. You can also find me on Xbox Ultimate later on tonight on Fun Speculations channel at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Shop Podcast on PTK Blam's channel tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then right back here at 12 noon for the Xbox Lunch Break special right here on Double Barrel Gaming. Look forward to seeing you there.
I put
Thank
all
you, brother.
Fuzzy's links in the chat too.
Yes,
Thank
absolutely.
you.
We got to get Fuzzy's next one on the list to get to 1K. That would be pretty dope. But ladies and gentlemen, of course, here at Double Barrel Gaming, for Dreadpool, for Crispy, for Web Dave, and Fuzzy Belvedere, I am Mr. BoomStick XL. This has been the new episode of Breakfast with Boom. Hopefully you enjoyed enough. You enjoyed the content and the conversation enough to A, consider subscribing, and B, more importantly, hit that like button before you get out of here. I want to wish everyone an amazing weekend. Enjoy gaming on whatever console you enjoy gaming on. And of course, I'm going to close out with something that's important to me. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad said to me when we were kids. And he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, Craig. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. We'll see you next week on the newest episode of Breakfast at Boom.